issues with the phone or with the laptop and that StreamYard type of thing. So I'm going to try and do this live with the phone, make this a little bit easier. We're going to play kind of, I like Alex Ramosi, how he does some stuff with paper. So I brought my pen and paper just to kind of do things. The question of the day is before and after. Should I paint my house before I move in? Should I paint my house after I move in? We get a lot of questions on that, and I can't say the right way or wrong way. I think either way is absolutely fine. It kind of depends on what you're looking for. So we actually have two houses. This is 2 weeks before Christmas. We actually have two houses going right now where we are painting the house before people are moving in. One person is moving from Georgia, one moving from downtown Chicago out here to the suburbs. So we help customers, whether it's if you're from the Northwest Chicago area, so from like Geneva, Batavia, St. Charles area, all the way up, say the Fox Valley, Randall Road, Crystal Lake, Bartlett, Elgin, South Elgin, and then we are here in Huntley, Pingree Grove area. So that's kind of our hub. But the question again, should I paint the house or can I paint the house? What does that look like? Can you help us if we're relocating from another state? That seems to be the big one, is people relocating from other states here, which I like Illinois. There's a lot to be said about it. The food is amazing, but that's a whole different conversation, especially the pizza. And I love pizza. So we help with move-in ready painting projects. I haven't quite figured out a good really name for that. If you got a good idea, suggestion for a quick, easy tag on that, man, put the comments in there because it's driving me nuts. So we call it move-in ready painting, paint before you move in, paint relocation, however you want to call it. It doesn't really matter. So let's start with what we can do. So we do remote estimates. I got my cheat sheet. So we got remote estimates. We give free color consultations, daily updates, a lockbox, and then we can paint whatever you're looking for. So walls, ceilings, trim, cabinets, wallpaper removal, drywall repairs, lifetime warranty, free 1-year touch-up, or when the movers are done. And then we call it no stress coordination. So I'll do some of the common questions first, and then we can kind of get into some of the other stuff. So the number one thing is flooring. So let's see if I can do this. This probably won't work. That's okay. Flooring is definitely the number one thing people ask about. I'm going to have flooring refinished. I'm going to have new carpets put in. You don't want to get tile. It's pretty much floors are getting refinished. If you're getting floors refinished, personally, I would say have the floors finished before we paint. And I say that for a couple different reasons. There's our exceptions that we would say that, but overall, I think it's better off if you have it done, because if they're doing refinishing wood floors, that means they're sanding. And if they're sanding, most flooring companies do a really good job of dust extraction. However, there's still dust and there's still odor. There's always dust. We paint, there's always dust. We use HEPA filters, there's still always dust. We do our best to mitigate it, but we can't guarantee no dust. So I say have the floors done first. That way all the dust is done, all the staining is done, all the polyurethane clear coat is done. And it could be water-based, it could be oil-based, which is a whole different conversation. But point is, if all that's done, it makes our job easier to come in after the fact. Because if we're coming in after the fact, the staining is done, the clear coat's done, and more times than not, they have to take off that quarter round that goes around the flooring, and they have to do all the staining. They have to put new stuff back on. When new stuff goes back on, that has to be nailed, it has to be caulked, it has to be painted. If they're not replacing it and they're just going right to the edge of the floor, I'll guarantee the edge of that trim is going to be nicked. It's going to be dinged. There are going to be marks from the sander. There's going to be stain on it. There's going to be stain on the wall. There's going to be clear coat on the trim. There's going to be clear coat on your wall. That is one thing you're going to have to work on. And sorry, flooring guys, I hope you guys have a better response for that, but that's been our experience, 15 years plus, 20 years plus. That's been my experience, and I haven't really seen anything that changes that. So I would do flooring first. Along with that comes electric. A lot of people will have electric work done. We're actually having electric do some can lights in our house here next week. So we're already preparing for it with plastic on the walls, moving furniture, getting stuff out of the way. But when they're putting can lights in, we've had some really good luck with Patrick Electric. He's here in Elgin. He actually rewired pretty much our whole house. I got to tell you, they're probably from being on sites and then working with electricians, so far they've been the best electricians we've worked with. They've been really clean, easy to um, answering questions. So if I don't understand something, they're really quick to understand it. There's primarily three guys. Andy is the one that we deal with the most, but the owner Patrick has been great answering questions by text. Also, how the can lights are going to be worked, what's the best layout for those can lights. They pick up all their trash. They always wear boots. They always have drop cloths everywhere they walk. So that's been our experience with lighting, but you still want to get that done. If they're changing out fans, they're changing out switches, you may have to have drywall cut. We had to have drywall cut in two of our rooms because when previous owners, when they built it, we're not sure, but when they wired the house, they wired it not great. And as a result of that, we had to take out drywall, replace boxes with bigger boxes, put junction boxes in. So it's kind of a mess. But they had to be done. So we had drywall repair after the fact. So I would get, if you have lighting or electric to get done, if you can change out switches, I would change out switches. We can put the covers back on, but I would change anything to do with electric. I would get that done next also. Not that they are going to make a mess, but odds are they're going to touch the walls. Odds are they're going to have to cut somewhere to worry about something, whether it's conduit, wiring, what have you. And kind of go along with that, deciding if we're repainting the whole house, are you going to keep those older intercom systems? Now's the time to know. If you don't want that intercom system in your house, tell us. Tell the electrician. Most of that stuff is low voltage, so it can be ripped out pretty easy. Cut. It's like speaker wires, and you can just patch it right up. Main thing is just killing the power to the main box. Once that's killed, they pull the wire. Everything else is dead at that point. So that way, if we have to take all those goofy things off, they're about some of them are like 6x12 box, the holes they have to be filled. So it means we need to put wood back in there, new drywall, and then patch it, paint it. And then for every room that those speakers are in, those have to be done too. We've seen some pretty cool stuff. There was a place in Naperville that had retrofits for those, and they were iPhone retrofits, and you just unhooked it or took it from the wall and you plugged it back in, and it was made for iPhones. So it was an iPhone station, had a speaker, had a screen. So if you're doing Pandora, if you're watching YouTube, you can actually do all that from your phone, but bigger screen, and it charges and it creates like a whole house audio system from your phone. I thought those were pretty cool. I don't know what they cost, but I thought it was kind of cool. So countertops is the next one with kitchens. If we're doing kitchen cabinets, it's a 50-50. A lot of people want their cabinets painted or hardware done before they're moving in and getting things done, but along that is countertops and backsplashes. So if you're getting tile work done, you definitely want to get that stuff done too. Sometimes drywall work has to be done, but it's just messy. And I personally, as a painter, we'd rather have everything done so that we are last. And wallpaper is definitely last, but we want to be the last ones in there. That way, once we're done, we can clean up and everything's done. So how do we handle if you're moving in from out of state? So hopefully you've done a Google review. Okay. Hopefully you've done a Google search and you found us online, helping St. Charles, South Elgin, Bartlett, Batavia, Geneva, Crystal Lake, Lake in the Hills, Lakewood, that whole Fox Valley area that goes up down the Fox River. That's kind of our primarily stomping grounds. So finding those on Google, give us a call. We can help virtual estimates. So a virtual estimate for us is we can do it virtually, like with a phone, kind of going around your house. But the best thing is we go online through Redfin, Zillow. Redfin for us, I think, is the best one. Some places don't have Redfin, but around the Chicagoland area we do. And I think they're the best because it gives the best descriptions and room sizes. It kind of brings in a lot of the realtor information, which I really like. The only thing none of them do, they don't give bathroom sizes. It's hard to tell height wise. So if it's a 9-foot ceiling or if it's a 2-story foyer, you have to look at pictures. So there's still some you have to look at pictures, have to look at the listing, but it gives you a pretty good idea of what it's going to cost to get it painted. So based off that virtual online listing, we can give you a price. If you know the size of the house, if you go on our website, top thing, get a quote now, it's close. So if you're doing a whole house, we kind of average it. It's kind of like new construction type of a thing, but there's a lot of nuances that affect the cost up. There's a lot of nuances that bring it down. So what you're getting done, if you're doing all the ceilings, all the walls, all the trim, all the doors, windows, time of year right now, we have a customer that wants windows done. Well, we can't do the window openings because it's freezing outside. So we have to wait and come back in the spring. So the other part of the virtual is if you know what you're getting done, colors, drywall repair. We can't really tell drywall repair if there's a lot of cracks, nicks, and dings. So what we do is 30 minutes per room. Is we just average 30 minutes a room you're going to have for drywall repair. Anything above that is extra. That's how we do it, even when we're on site, because sometimes it's a month to 2 months before we come back. Scheduling, colors, what have you. So sometimes there's damage that's done after the fact. The house in St. Charles we're working on, we bid it 3 weeks ago. Since then, we've had a ton of snow, literally 18 inches of snow in about 2 weeks. And then we've had rain. So now we have snow, rain, ice on the house in 2 places in the living room with a vaulted ceiling on the bottom. There was some movement because now there's cracks on the bottom. So something structurally is not there. We would just screw all that stuff back in, but there's something there that wasn't quite right that affected that drywall, that it forced a couple cracks. So that's something extra once we started. People want to know also how long it takes. How long it takes to paint a house before you're moving in also depends on what we're getting done. So if we're repainting all the trim in the house, you're looking at a week just to get, on most homes, a week just to get the trim painted. If we're adding doors, if we're replacing hardware, replacing hinges, handles, all that stuff takes extra time also. So what we're doing affects how long it takes to get done. We mentioned trim, but if ceilings, 2-story ceilings, depending on the size, if there's lights in the middle, that means we're bringing scaffolding, which adds more time. If we're doing all the windows, well, it depends what kind of windows. If it's a frame only, or if it's the one that has all the slats in it that need to be painted, and we have to take out those things out. I'm gonna brain frog. I can't think of those. Yep, whatever those things are in the middle, all those little decorative pieces that we're painting, those again affects how much time it takes for us to get it done. Drywall work, if we're patching all those holes from the audio visual, if we're plugging in holes from phones. My wife Daphne was just telling me last night that there's a new trend now of putting hard lines back in homes, especially for kids' rooms, taking out cell phones, and actually they just have a landline that they're using as friends calling, so they're taking away the cell phone and issues with cell phones. So I thought that was kind of cool. But almost every house that we're painting, people are asking us to patch the old cable lines, old phone lines. So those jacks are kind of going away. Those holes aren't there anymore. How long it take? Then colors. So colors, I kind of mentioned it before, color consults. We do free color consults. We have a couple different people. Sherwin-Williams, we have quite a few color consultations with Sherwin-Williams proper. And then those are 100% free. They're awesome. They're awesome to deal with. And then we have 2 color consults that are named Linda, which is kind of funny. It's kind of nice with the 2 Lindas, as they'll pick kind of any color. So you're not Sherwin-Williams overall. They pretty much stick to Sherwin-Williams colors. If we do the 2 Lindas, then they can pick any color. The one thing we will say is we tend to stay away from bare colors, because bare colors have very different types of tinting than Benjamin Moore and Sherwin-Williams. It's kind of a weird thing. If you are using the Lindas, or even whomever, if you have your colors, it's a Benjamin Moore color. For the most part, if it's a Benjamin color, we stick with Benjamin Moore paint. It's not all the time. We prefer Sherwin-Williams Emerald Designer Series, but some colors, they're Benjamin Moore colors. Simply White is one, Chantilly Lace is another. They're just coming to mind where they're really hard to match in other sheens sometimes, and other there's off just enough. 99% of people don't notice, but the one that does is meaning we're painting a whole house, and I don't want to do that. And then how do you get in and out of the house? So one of the cool things getting in and out, just like you have a lockbox for the realtor, we can get a lockbox also. Some people will change the locks as soon as they move in, handyman services, and they'll get those PIN codes, and they just give us a temporary PIN code. Some people give us a garage code. Some people just give us actual lockbox like a realtor uses, lock the house up every night, and then we just send a video when we're done, which gets into, we call it ghost protocol. We just want to make sure no ghosts are in your house, no one's coming in, that your house is locked up. So at the end of the day, our project manager or lead painter on site just does a quick video, quick picture. Hey, here's what we got done. Here's our schedule for tomorrow. And then just do a quick video of the house being locked up and we're leaving for the day. That way you know what's getting done. Some people put those Ring cameras in there, which just adds a little bit more level of security to it. I can't remember, Bing or Bling. I can't remember. There's an Amazon one too. We had those when we're on vacation. They're kind of nice. it depends on what you want. What if the movers ding the walls? I'm not going to say that they do because I've been really impressed lately with movers not digging the walls because sometimes movers have to pay for that. I would still say have us paint before the movers come in, and then we can just come back when everything's said and done, dust settles. We can come back, do touch-ups, and you're done. Or we come back in a year and do touch-ups in that 12 months. And then how long does it take? I haven't been writing anything down on that piece of paper, have I? So let's make electric, counters, tile work, virtual quotes, colors, lock boxes, movers. Let's call mover damage. How's that? And how long, kind of go into that, how long it takes, just depends on what you're getting done. Um, paint safety. So paint safety is kind of a new term. We're starting to hear it. Is paint safe for myself? Is a paint safe for dogs? What's the odor? All paint has odor. Even though it's no VOC, I can't say that because we painted a house for a person that was moving in Woodstock, and they found this absolutely 100% no VOC paint. It was from somewhere in Charlotte, North Carolina. They had you can get any color that it's shipped uh, and tinted. Winter made it interesting. They can only ship during certain days, but they had it tinted any color, and honestly, I couldn't smell anything. Um, but all paints, even if they say VOC, as soon as you add tint, for the most part, except for that one, as soon as you add a tint color, it adds a little bit of VOC in there. So you want to be careful because there could be some odor in there. I honestly don't smell it anymore, good, bad, or otherwise. I really don't smell it. If odor is an issue, there's a couple things we can do aside from opening windows. Keeping a fan on your house, your HVAC, we can kind of put a temporary charcoal filter in there. It helps with particulates. People will burn candles, and that burns off any kind of airborne particulate. We also have we don't use I don't have an ozone machine because I don't know what that does. But we do have a charcoal particulate HEPA filter. It's pretty decent size. Put it in the middle of your house. It runs and it absorbs odors. That works really, really well. Um, and then dry time, for us, we're painting in about 3 or 4 hours, second coats. So it dries pretty quick. It's as long as you're not touching it. You don't want to eat it. You don't want to drink it. That kind of stuff. For animals, um, we have had animals walk in paint and then walk around the house. That was kind of a fun day. But usually animals stay away from it. They're pretty smart. They don't get into it. So I would say it's safe. I mean, everyone paints their house, so I wouldn't be too worried about if it's unsafe or safe. If you have allergies, definitely let us know. There's a couple different paints we can use than what we would normally use to kind of combat those issues. And that was the last one was safety and odors. We'll just call it odor. So those are the biggest questions people have when it comes to repainting. So best example, I can put a link in here, but if you go to our webpage regarding realtor stuff, we had great couple that came to us from Springfield, Illinois, and they found us online that we serve Lakewood. They had called us before we got there. They sent us their realtor listing. We did an estimate for them, and it was between us and one other company. We gave them the virtual estimate via email. We sent it to them the day of their walkthrough, which was 2 days before closing. We went there just to confirm everything. There were little changes. Actually, we added stuff on that we